I'm Caroline. This is my van, Sheila. I've lived in it full-time since April of this year. Welcome to my van. This is like my little kitchen area. It just has, well, it would normally have like a sink, and then the sink opens up. I do everything, like literally everything on my counter, and so it's super nice to just have like the full like counter space. I think it would be so irritating if it would basically give me only like half of what I have now. Like I make all my coffee like right on top of here, and I feel like I'll use this sometimes like even outside for like a cutting board or just different stuff. So I feel like this is like, I like this cover. This is like the main like flat tabletop area I have, and then I also have another like table that breaks down that I can set up like outside, and then there's a front piece on the front of this that will fold down, and that turns into like an outdoor table thing too. But inside, if everything's like shut up, this is the only counter space. I use the outside table literally all the time. I would say almost every day, at least if I'm doing stuff outside or cooking outside. It's just so much easier than like, especially because I'm short, so it's so much easier than having to like hop up all the way up into the van and then do stuff and come back outside. And usually I'll set up my outside table and then open that, and that's my like counter space and everything for dinner or whatever. Okay, this fridge obviously doesn't work right now because I don't have power, but back in the day it did work. It's huge. It's giant. I love it. It works great. It keeps everything like super cold, and it like cranks, but it's huge. And mostly, I mean, I think for somebody that was like either multiple people or like cooks a lot more than I do, like I'm usually out here eating like pepperoni sandwiches. So like I don't need a lot of fridge. It's mostly just for like beer. And so now I'm just using this like smaller little cooler thing that I have in my front seat. And that's as big as I need, because it just has like salsa or like a little bit of meat or just a couple little things I'm gonna use for like dinner the next couple days in it. And I feel like this is super nice, but for me it was like way too much space. And so hopefully eventually I'm gonna take this out and make it into like a more storage. Yeah, this is my closet. It is full of clothes that I brought with me that I don't need. But I like it just because I have like a few things that I want to hang that I like otherwise wouldn't really be able to. But it just has like a little doorknob thing that pushes and you lock it. But I don't know, I really like it. I mean, honestly, if I wanted to, I could probably put shelves in it and just make it more regular storage, but it works well for me as like a little closet. I love my microwave. I am excited to get power back in here, only to use microwave. I don't think I'm gonna change anything else. But that's just because I can't cook, and so everything I do, like cooking at all, is microwave. No, I honestly like having this. It's a bummer only because it is like a big power draw when I do run it. That's probably the only negative thing, but if I was like plugged into shore power, or if I had like a full charge, I would totally use microwave. This is my bathroom. Originally, it did used to work. There's a shower in there. There's like a toilet in there that goes to a black water tank. The shower drains to a gray water tank. It was super nice when I first started and everything was running. Like, I didn't use the shower too much just because it was cold water. And so I usually just do the Planet Fitness thing. And so it wasn't really worth like using all the power to run the hot water heater and then getting that going. But when I did use it, it was really nice to have. And the bathroom was super convenient to have. Obviously just because you can just like use it anytime. You don't have to worry about like going other places or whatever. But it drains to like a black water tank, and then you have to just empty that every few weeks. And which is one thing that people think is so gross. It's not that gross. It's like super contained. It's just like a hose, and then you hook it up and it goes in a hole, and then you just open the valve and close the valve. My valve was also broken, and so I have like a can of like PB Blaster and a hammer. Then that was my like method to like open and close it. But then I hammered it too hard and I broke the valve like thing, the handle off. So now it doesn't work at all, so that's part of the problem. But no, when I did have it, it was like, I thought it made all the difference, honestly. And having that was like super convenient. I'm very excited to get that back to shower and bathroom. So I am a merchant marine, and I graduated from maritime school, I guess 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been working on the same oil tanker like ever since I graduated college. And we would just do runs up and down the West Coast, back and forth pretty much the whole time. And I work 2.5 months on and 2.5 months off, typically, or around there. And so pretty much the first, I would say the first couple years after college, I would work for the couple months and then I would come home. And I wouldn't really do that much. I would do stuff, I would go work out, I would go hang out with friends, or go, run errands and just do daily stuff that everybody else is doing on the weekends. But I would do that every day because I just didn't really know what else to do, I think. And then I remember this one vivid moment, sitting on my couch in my apartment and just being like, I need to do something fun. I have all this time and I'm just essentially wasting it. And I was like, but what do I like to do? And I was like, I had thought about it a lot, and I was like, I remember when I was a kid, I really liked to hike. And I remember we went hiking I think one time or a couple times, and I was like, I remember thinking it was super fun and not wanting it to be over. One time I was sitting on the ship and we were all at dinner, and we all eat dinner in the same room, and it's at this big long table, and I was sitting next to I think my captain at the time, and he all of a sudden looks at me and he goes, Caroline, he's like, you know what you should do? I was like, what? He goes, you should live in a van. He's like, it's perfect for you. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I didn't know people do that. It's like, that's weird. And he was like, no. He's like, no, it's a real thing. And then everybody else kind of started chiming in, and they were like, yeah, it's a thing. You gotta look it up. And so I started looking it up, and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. The vent fan, I like it. I wouldn't say it's super necessary either, but I mean, it's nice, I guess, if you're showering in here all the time and different stuff like that. It's nice to have it right next to the bathroom, just because it's a vent type of thing. But the only thing that I really use it for that I found super helpful is if it's really, really hot outside. And since I haven't been able to really run my AC, I'll just open I have some smaller windows in the back, and I'll just open those and then would turn this on, and it would give create a draft, and it would pull the cooler air in through the windows, which is super nice. This is super nice too. This is it just opens like this, and it's got all my window covers and stuff in it. My skateboard's in here, my table stuff. This is a huge compartment. And this is super nice too, just because obviously storage in here is so minimal that any extra space you can have is super easy. And then if I'm going to cover the windows up at night, it's just nice to have access to everything where I don't have to dig around under the bed or in different places. Yeah, and or if I'm going to grab my skateboard or something, it's right here, and it's super convenient. Welcome to the bedroom part of my van. It's literally right next to the kitchen. This is the edge of the kitchen counter, and the whole back portion is essentially the bed, or my living space. So this does not move at all. This is just a fixed platform under here. It's all bolted down, and it doesn't turn into anything or move at all or anything like that. And I like it and I hate it. I like the size of it because it is, I mean, it's an odd shape, but it's essentially just the size of a normal bed. And it's nice to have the space to lounge around and do whatever. If it's bad weather outside or something, I'll just sit in here and read or go on my computer or at night. But also I think in hindsight, if I had the choice, I would definitely make it so that it did so that somehow there could be a little more living space, because it is tough not really having a table and a chair essentially is what's I would say missing from this. So it would be nice if in some way this either folded up or somehow could create a little sitting space, but also I can just sit on the bed and eat dinner or do whatever. It's not super inconvenient. It would just, if I had the choice, I think I would make it mobile. Under my bed is just a big open space essentially. There's the freshwater tank is under there, but otherwise it's just open. And I store, like I have a gas can down there, all my like hoses and stuff are in there, my stove, and just a couple bins with like stuff I don't use a lot, but that I still want to have, but I don't need like easy access to. So I have like super minimal like electrical knowledge, and so basically I've done everything that I know, where I've like had the batteries checked, I've checked all the fuses, there's a bunch of fuses in that like system, I've checked them all. My last ditch like effort recently was to replace the battery separator, and I replaced that, and I thought that was gonna do it. I really did, but it didn't work either. So yeah, the whole system is under the driver's seat, and it goes straight from the starter battery to a separator to whatever, just a bunch of other wiring, and like the fuse, like there's a fuse box under there and stuff, and then it comes back here and there's a bigger like 50 amp fuse, which is still good, and then it goes to the house batteries. Everything changed, I think, once I moved in the van, like everything. I was a very like quiet, shy person, believe it or not, because now I'm really annoying, but I was very like reserved. I didn't like talk to people that much. I didn't really like speak up for myself. I wouldn't like go places because I was like nervous to, not because I like didn't want to or whatever. And yeah, I guess the biggest thing that changed is that I didn't realize that I wasn't happy with my life until I was, if that makes any sense. Like I just was living this life that I thought was like what you were supposed to do. Like I was coming home and I was going to the gym and I was going to the bar and I was going to, you know, out with friends, and I was going to do like see my family doing this stuff, which is great, but I just wasn't, I was just meh all the time. Like I wasn't like this wasn't my personality really. Like I was like, ugh, like kind of serious and kind of just blah, and I was like, yeah, everything's like fine, like whatever, I guess. And I think as soon as I moved in the van, I would like laugh out loud for like no reason. And I was like, what's going on? And I was like, it's because I'm doing what I love now, and I wasn't before, and I didn't realize it, and I didn't realize how much I needed to be outside, and how much I needed to be active, and how much I needed to like have these experiences and see these different places and just be by myself so often, but also just like meet people that are like-minded, I guess. Because I mean, I didn't have that much in common with the people I was hanging out with at home, you know, and then coming out here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually meeting people that I like the same music as me, or that like to do the same things I like to do. Like I'd never experienced that before, and I think, yeah, and it's just made me so much of a better person. Like it makes me like, I'm sorry, I'm so stupid, but it makes me like cry when I think about it almost, because it's so, if I hadn't done this, like I don't know, my life would be so different. Like I would be such a different person. I think just, yeah, it's forced me to be way more outgoing. It's made me so much happier. Like it's just made me like so much less, I have no anxiety anymore, because it's, everything I do is like up to me. And it's like, where am I gonna go? Like, it doesn't matter. I can go wherever I want. Or like, what am I gonna do today? I'm like, well, what do I want to do? All of this storage, like up above the bed, I love having all of this, and it's honestly the perfect amount for what I need. Like this one's all of my coffee stuff and any cooking stuff that I have, and just like smaller household stuff. This one is clothes, and then this one is just a bunch of like random stuff, and they're a lot bigger than they look. Honestly, they hold like quite a bit. Like this one has these 4 huge, I don't know if you know those like fold out cloth bins that you can buy at Walmart and stuff like that, but this one has like 4 or 5 of them in it, I think, and then there's still extra space to put stuff. The AC is like literally right above the bed. I've only used it probably 2 or 3 times when I did have power, and then I haven't used it in a long time because it's just been a few months since I've been able to. But when I did use it, I'm from Maine, so it wasn't super necessary in the beginning, but it cranks. Like that thing cranks. It's so it's super loud, but it puts out a lot of air, which is really, like, I think it'll be really nice. I'm really looking forward to having it back before this coming summer, because I think it'll be super helpful, especially if I'm going to stay down around like this area at all. But yeah, I haven't used it enough to know, I think, if it's like super beneficial or not, but I think it will be. It definitely is pretty powerful. It does use a lot of power too, which is tough, but I think it would be worth it in like a really hot day. I love having so many windows. I see vans all the time that are fully like blocked out in the back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it must be so dark in there. Like, I'm sure it's not, but I love everything to be as light as possible. So, and I just love to be able to see like all around me when I'm in here and like know what's going on. And I'm super nosy, so it's nice to like be able to look around. But also having the blinds is nice because you have the option to obviously like shut everything. The lights in the ceiling, when you do turn them on, are so bright. And I love it. It's great. And there's also other lights in here. Like, there's smaller lights above the bed, and then there's a small one above the counter. So if it's later at night or early in the morning, you don't necessarily want to be like blinded. You don't have to be. But these lights are crazy bright for how small they are once like you turn them on. It's nuts. It lights up the entire van. It's crazy. So it's, yeah, when I do have power, I like those a lot. My bike. I have been wanting to get a bike since like the day I moved into the van and realized that I have to drive it everywhere and I can't just leave it at a campsite. But I just haven't found, like, I'm on a little bit of a budget, so I haven't found like a bike that was nice enough and was what I wanted and what I could like afford. And I've looked on Craigslist everywhere I've gone. But honestly, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was sitting at Starbucks and I was on my computer. I was like, I'm just gonna look at bikes. And I went on Craigslist, and this lady had posted a bike like 30 minutes before that. And I was like, that's exactly what I've been thinking of. So I called her and set it up and bought it. But now that I have it, I'm so happy I have it. It's been so nice. And I'm so excited to just be able to set up camp and like have it there and be able to go into town and do stuff, or go for bike rides, or go like bike to trails and go running and stuff, and not have to always drive like everywhere, or walk, which is great, but it takes so long. So yeah, I love having this. I know that it's so hard to just take the jump and like make the move, but I promise, like, the best experiences of your life are, I think there's a quote, and I quote it all the time, and I don't know who said it, which is horrible, but it's like I think it's everything you want is on the other side of fear. And it's just like, don't let your fear and your anxiety of the unknown get in the way of something that could be literally the best experience of your life, or just something that could just be awesome. Because I think people, like, of course I was afraid to quit my job and like move in my car, you know, like that sounded like a crazy thing to do, but I think my advice would be afraid of it, but do it anyway. And if you can just get to that like mental point of being like, yeah, this scares the shit out of me, but I'm not gonna let that keep me from doing something I know I would love. However you can make that jump, just make it, because you won't regret it, 100%. Thanks for watching. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can. It's at Screwing Up and Taking Names. And that's also the name of my blog. So that website for that is screwingupandtakingnames.com.